Did you know that I was bullied by other martial artists at one time in my career? It's a true story. It's a very unfortunate story. It's one that I'm not even proud to even talk about because it should have never happened. It should never happen in an institution that prides itself on being professional, humble people, honorable people, people with integrity and dignity and respect for the world, not to include themselves or individuals. So what happened was that throughout my martial arts journey, I, unlike some of my contemporaries in the martial arts that were in my city for the most part, they didn't like the fact that someone else had a school, a martial arts school. That was myself. And not only that, I taught a particular discipline that was composed of many disciplines. In other words, since I grew up and was taught and trained in various other martial arts systems and styles, and they had not been, most of those guys only studied one thing in their lives. It was either a Korean martial art, Taekwondo, Tong Sudo, more respectively, or it was a Japanese art, or even a Chinese art. But they frowned upon me because I had Korean, Japanese, and Chinese martial arts background. They didn't like that because I was different. Not simply on the strength that I was different, but because I gained a lot of adoration from many people in the city, to include their own students, when they would see me in competitions, when they would see me in seminars, when they would see me even in my own school when they would come and visit, which they were forbade to do by their instructors, because the instructors just didn't like anything that was outside of what they did in their own private dojo. Can you say ignorance and stupidity? It's unfortunate that when you study one particular art, that you judge someone else solely based on your art. Let me tell you, use this analogy. If you live in the United States or America and you have never been to Japan, how do you know about their customs, their culture, and their traditions if you've never come outside of your comfort zone? You don't. And even within America, if you live in Georgia and you go to New Orleans, New Orleans is a bit different than Georgia. The people are. And if you leave Louisiana and you go to Tennessee, the people in Tennessee are not like the people in Louisiana. So what I'm saying is this: you never know how something is until you actually partake of it yourself. And just because you've never been somewhere, and just because you've never done a particular thing, doesn't give you the right to criticize it. Not even constructive criticism, because you have nothing to base it on. You're criticizing it because it's just simply not what you do. It's simply not what you understand. I'm going to give you a real good example. I hope it is for you. I was in a tournament many years ago that was mainly karateka. Understand this, I'm a karateka, kung fu man, and a jiu-jitsu man as well, and then some. But this particular day, I'm running a drunken boxing form, Zuikwan, drunken boxing, and it's from my system. And there was a Korean Tong Sudo master there, black guy. He wasn't Korean himself, but he studied Tong Sudo. All he had ever done in his entire life was Tong Sudo. And he sat amongst the judging panel of 5 judges. He scored my form when I competed. Now, mind you, I would usually place top 3 in any competition, in anybody's venue, in any state that I would go to and compete, in the top 3. That's not tooting a horn, I'm just telling you how it was throughout my martial arts career. I received like 7th or 8th place, and this guy walked up to me and made this statement to me. He said, "I didn't understand what you were doing, so I scored you low. That's the reason I scored you low." So what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, is that he affected my potential or my ability to win or to be placed in a higher place or bracket in that competition because he didn't understand what I was doing. When he first saw me step on the floor, he should have recused himself or asked for someone who studied Chinese martial arts to come and replace him. He didn't do that. So I had to accept and settle for a much lower place on the awards side of it. Go figure. It's been many people who don't understand what you're doing, so they judge you according to their ignorance. That's not fair to you. So I use that as an example to say this. There are many martial arts instructors that belong to this organization in my city, composed of mainly black folks, and been around for some years. There were certain individuals in this organization that talked about me like a dog behind my back. Not because I had ever done anything wrong to them. Never did. I love everybody. Always have. I love you. You know I do. You know my personage. You know my personality and my character as long as you watched me on YouTube. But these people just couldn't stand the fact that I would go to a competition and I would get a standing ovation when I performed. They never liked that. These people, when they would have their own judges judging and I come up to compete and they had a student competing in the same division as myself, they would score me low intentionally and their student higher. And the audience, along with many other martial arts masters, knew that I won. That's what I'm talking about. These are the people that talked about me behind my back for no reason. All because I was different. All because I didn't fit into their little groove or their clique, or wouldn't join their clique. Let me tell you this before I depart. Martial arts shouldn't be about cliques. If it's from Thailand, Muay Thai, if it's from Korea, Tong Sudo, Taekwondo, Taekwondo, Harangdo, Hapkido, Kuksowan. If it's from Japan, Shotokan, Goju-ryu, Shito-ryu, Shorin-ryu, it doesn't matter. Shuri-ryu from Okinawa, it doesn't matter. No matter where the martial arts originates from, just because it's not what the other person is doing or because they're doing more than one thing doesn't give you a right to degrade them and to demean what they're doing because it's not what you're doing. Who told you to measure every martial arts system by your own measuring stick? Grow up.